Hi babe, this is how you pack your bike in an Evoc bike bag. So the only tools that you'll really need are Allen keys, and out of these you'll probably just need the 6mm to take your wheels off and either a 3 or a 4mm to take the bars off of your bike. So first things first, open up the big main compartment, and then you got this little guy here. It's the top tube cover, and I'll show you how that goes. But the first thing is to take the tray out. I've found that this makes it the most easy to, get the bike set up and bolted to the tray, and then put the whole thing in the bag. So, easiest thing is to turn your bike upside down, take the wheels off. So just take the wheels off as normal. Let's zoom you out a little bit. Take the wheels off as normal. Set your axles to the side, you'll need those. And then you want to take some of the air out of your tires. So not all of it, but enough to where it's pretty squishy, but not so squishy that it's going to come off of the rim. And the biggest reason for that is just to give it some volume to expand into while when it's on the plane and pressures change. And you can go ahead and throw first wheel and the backside. The important thing to look at is on the inside of the wheel pouch, there is a little kind of like cavity for the brake rotor, which is new on the bags that we have versus the ones that we borrowed from Jake. And that keeps us from having to take the rotors off, and so that they're protected. So just put the wheel in the pocket so that the rotor is in that cavity. Zip that guy back up, and then remember how I showed you there's that little button on your derailleur. Go ahead and push the cage up, push that button, and then let the cage back down onto that button. Take your rear wheel or rear axle out, set it aside, pop that second wheel off, and you can do the same thing. Air pressure, let a good bit out so that there's some squish, but still enough volume in there to where it's not going to pop off the bead. And then do the same thing with the wheel pocket on this side, rotor out so that it goes into that little cavity that's marked for a rotor, and then zip it back up. Next thing we want to do is take your pedals off. Once again, right Allen key for Allen key for your pedals. Make sure you also get the little washer that's in there. Washer, and then I think I've packed this one up. I usually, in that pocket up there, there's probably already a Ziploc bag in that little front pocket on the inside. Put your pedals in, zip it up, And then right inside, there's a pocket with a zipper. Throw that in there, zip it up. And now we can put the bike on the frame. And put your derailleur back down, flip it over, and then you quite literally put your bike on here, you know, the same way that you'd put a wheel on. And taking this bike stand out of the bag makes it a lot easier to get the rear axle back in. So one thing I realized after I put the bike in the bag for the first time is that the rear dropout that you mounted in actually has a little groove in it, and that groove is intended to catch your chain. So when you're putting your rear dropout on the back of that frame, put the chain up over that little peg, very, very similar to how you would put it over the cassette, and that will keep your chain nice and tight and keep it from flopping around while it's in the bag. To tighten it down, probably not quite as tight as you put your wheels on the front or on the back, and then do the same thing for the front. You may have to slide this little rear part up or down so that it fits your frame. And then once again, put your axle back in and tighten it up. Not quite as tight as you would for your wheels. Next thing is your seat. So since your bike is brand new, you probably don't have any tape on here, so find some tape, mark your seat post height. Take that sucker out, and then tighten this back down just a little bit, just so it's snug, so it doesn't fall off, but it doesn't need to be super tight. And now, the next thing is this top tube protector thinger-majobber. So it's marked on here, top tube and then headset. So headset up here, top tube up here. You'll have to take, if you do have a top tube bag, you'll have to take that off. So just put it on there and then wrap these little straps around. And then just snug it up. Doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. And then on the back side, there are these two little straps here. And I'll show you what those are for. Take the 4 bolts out of the front of your stem. Don't mess with the ones back here that attach the stem to the steerer tube. But take the ones out of the front of the stem. Yours is probably going to be much easier because they are new bolts. Once your handlebars are all floppy, just put the stem cap or the faceplate back on to the stem. Once again, just tightening it down enough to where it's snug, and those bolts aren't gonna come out in transit, so they don't have to be torqued to spec or anything like that. Just snug. And then handlebars, essentially just kind of like these little strappies here go around your bars just to kind of keep them in place. And the goal is to, get them somewhat like in this orientation, in just like such a way that the controls aren't really like jammed up on anything or anything like that. And then once you've got it this far, you're more or less ready to put it in the bag. There's one other thing that I would probably do. I put them in the side pouch of your bag, but there are these little brake lever thingers. Not brake lever, but little spacers that go into your brake calipers, so that in transit the calipers don't get pushed in, or if you do like grab a lever without the rotor being in there, it doesn't make it really difficult to get your wheel back on. So if you look at this, it has a little detent right there, and that detent goes to the bottom of the brake pad. So you put this in the same direction that the rotor would go into your brake caliper. So like I said, those will be in the side pocket of your bike bag. And then all you gotta do, flip it back around, open it up, and then put this frame in. Fork side first is usually the easiest. And then just make sure those, the plastic feet that frame attaches to, just make sure that they're all the way on the bottom of the bag. And then the next step is there are these red straps on the inside, and those red straps basically just hold the bike down into the bag. So just find a way that works convenient with your bike. Like for example, I put this one like up around the front of the chain ring there, and then this one can just go. It can even go like up over top of the seat stays, and once again, just snug. And then up front, there is like this little fork padding thingamajobber, and it has some of those very similar red straps. And once again, they just strap around and clip in. top, and then one on the bottom. And then, last but not least, there are a couple like little straps on the inside of the bag. These little red straps, and there are loops inside of the bag. So what you do here is you just try to find like the loop that aligns best with, you know, part of the frame. So like, for example, back here on the seat tube, I'm putting that one there. And then up front, there are some straps that are like really long that you can put like around the front there. There's another one up here that I can never really get around the front of my bike. So that should be good there. And yeah, that's it. Your bike's packed. When we used to, and then your seat, really, like, I've just been kind of like throwing my seat down here in the bottom. I'll also put my shoes down there in the bottom, and then I'll show you another trick that I do with like my helmet and clothes and things like that. And then tools, just after you get everything packed up and you're ready to zip things up, grab your Allen wrenches, and there is a little plastic zippered pouch like right up here. Put the tools in there and then zip those up. That way we know where they're at. And what I've been doing with helmet and clothes and like other soft stuff that I want to put in the bag with the bike is I'll use one of our fancy Mississippi Gravel Cut 2019 bags, put everything in there with the helmet at the bottom and then everything else packed around it, and then I'll tie it up and then take those loops and put it around like the top of the seat tube, and then it just kind of hangs back here. And the last couple of times that I've shipped my bike like that, when I opened it up, it's still like sitting there perfectly. And then zip it up and you're ready to go.